Hello everybody, today I'm going to explain to you mixed methods. Mixed methods research is a methodology for conducting research that involves quantitative and qualitative research. This approach to research is used when this integration provides a better understanding of the phenomena rather than each of the methodologies alone. When we talk about quantitative data, we refer to questionnaires based on closed questions like yes/no questions, multiple choice, and Likert scale. Quantitative data assists the investigator to establish trends. On the other hand, qualitative data refers to interviews based on open questions. The qualitative data is very nice for collecting more information about the phenomenon, because in here the respondent can provide points of view and opinions. Okay, but what do we gain by mixing these methods? Well, the investigator diminishes the weaknesses of each method as he use characteristics of both. It means that the methods complement each other, and there is one of the most advantageous characteristics of using mixed methods, and this is the possibility of triangulation, because triangulation permits the investigator to use methods, techniques, strategies, and different tools that can be helpful to analyze, to interpret, or to ponder certain situations or results about the research problem. Okay, but there is one question that we have to answer, and it is, when should we use mixed methods? Well, there are certain points in which we have to think about to execute this methodology. The first one goes around the critical thinking of the researcher, because if he considers that the investigation really needs mixed methodology, then he can proceed with it, but he has to take into consideration the statement of the problem. And then we can use mixed method when we need to use one method to inform another method. What do I mean? When little is known about the topic and it is necessary to first learn about the variables and then proceed to study them. In this case, we can use qualitative research to identify the variables, and then we can proceed with the quantitative research to study the variables with a large sample of individuals, and then we are complementing the investigation. Also, when we want to look at a research question from different angles and we want to clarify unexpected findings or potential contradictions, also we can use when we want to elaborate, clarify or build on findings from other methods. What I mean with this is that maybe a phenomenon has been studied by one method, but we can use another method to prove the results and to analyze if they are confiding or not. And then we have the last one, when we want to develop a theory about a phenomenon of interest and then test it. In this case, what we do is to use qualitative data to identify variables, as I was saying before, and then we use quantitative research to test these variables and to study them. Okay, there are three cases, or there are three ways how we can use these mixed methods. In the first one, we can we can use quantitative and qualitative, but in this case the quantitative will be given more emphasis than the qualitative. I mean, the researcher will use the quantitative research more than the qualitative. The other case is when the researcher is going to use both methodologies at the same level, and he's going to give emphasis for both. There will not be any preference. And then we have the case number 3. In here, the researcher will give more emphasis to the qualitative data. He will use the other method, but he will implement the qualitative research more than the other one. Okay. At the same time, it is very important to say that the data might be collected and analyzed at the same moment, or it can be collected and analyzed in different periods of time, because as the researcher will use different methodologies and tools, he must be very careful, because he can tend to make some mistakes. But first he has to prepare himself to execute a good investigation. And it is remarkable to highlight that different situation, problems, or phenomena such as depression, economy, religion, sicknesses, and they are very complex phenomena. Therefore, mixed methods can facilitate the investigations of these situations, because the usage of a variety of techniques, methods, strategies, and even researchers to examine the research problems can help the researchers to carry out a more accurately and properly investigation. It does not go around the fact that mixed methods are very useful for this or for that, but it must be taken into account if it must be used. If not, we have to use a unique method.